Okay, Year 12. Welcome to your video tutorial today introducing CSS and its role and how it fits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick between these slides and a couple of live documents that I have going on here. Just a reminder, CSS was invented to ensure consistency amongst design and layout. Now, some of you have been playing around with some of your HTML code and you realize that you can actually add things, more data to the tags and make the paragraph red or make the heading pink or make it do something. And that's all well and good. However, if you wanted to scale your site, CSS really comes into play with scalability, uniformity, and ease. Say you had not a site with one page like you do at the moment, but a site with 20 pages, and you wanted every paragraph to be a certain font and a certain color. If you wanted to update that, you'd have to go to all 20 pages and change it. And did you select the right hexadecimal for the color? Is the font the same? And then you want to change it again. It's a very laborious task. So what was decided was that HTML, let's leave that for the content in good web dev. Let's use this concept of cascading style. So a style that cascades like a waterfall does, and it goes through every single page, and it's the thing that dictates how the HTML should be displayed. Let's leave the HTML just for the content. Let's leave the design, the display, everything in a way more efficient way in CSS. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can handle CSS, external or inline. I'm going to teach you about external because in my brain, it also is the nicest. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of web dev. It is the nicest. So say I have this HTML here, and I know I've got my little preview going on here. I have this HTML here. So as you can see, I've got my header. I've got my header up here. I've got the body in here. I've got a header 1, header 2. I've got a paragraph. I've got a couple of paragraphs actually. I've got a whole lot of different things going on here. There is a line in my header. Again, remember the header is for all the metadata. It's not the actual content on the site. And it's something new that you might not have seen. And it's a link tag. And the relationship of this link tag is something called a style sheet. In this case, our CSS style sheet. And because our style sheet is saved in the same folder as our actual website, I can just refer to it as style.css. If I was to go and put it into this folder just here, I would have to go /CSS/style.css. Essentially what we are able to do is limit this, and now I've moved its location, so that's very good because it goes, can't find it. What we are then able to do is create another file. Again, it's very markup-y. For this, do this, for this, do this, for this, do this. It doesn't have tags, but it is HTML. And it allows you to dictate for either elements, and I won't confuse you, but we're going to get there in a second, or for classes or for entire sections. It allows you to be able to dictate the style. So anything in the body, it said make it these two fonts, make it this line height, make it this margin, make it this background color. If you start looking up some CSS stuff on W3 Schools, you will see the absolute plethora of different design ideas that you can do. Now, with my bare bones basic site, is a CSS style sheet really necessary? No, one would say no, because it's only really tiny, but it keeps it nice and separated. It keeps it nice and modular in the fact that all the design is in here and all the site is in here. That's particularly important when you scale as well. I could have 15, 20 different pages. All they need at the top is this one line to say, go back to the style sheet, go back and reference this guy. And the whole design of my site is no longer done in all of these little tags, rather is done in what we call external CSS. Okay, and if I was to preview it, you'll notice, let me just refresh my page. Oh, no, maybe I called it the wrong thing. Oh, this is a cool example because now you can see it's broken. Style.css, did I give it a capital? That should work. Oh, it's broken. Let me see if I can live fix it in this video. Let me just put it back to where it was. And let's see if I can live fix it as you watch me. Okay. Let me just go back this way. Sorry, this is fun. Please enjoy watching me do this. Let's put the style sheet back there. Let's close that. Let's open this. Let's check my site now. Yeah, see? How cool was that? There was actually a cool dem. This couldn't find this, and it was all coming up really black. You'll like very HTML-y, very unedited. You now know, look at this whole style. Look at this really cool. This has got like a blue thing going on. I hover over it, it's green. That's got an outline. I've got a clear color going on the back of the page. My font's changed. That is because everything in here, all this content, is being dictated by this style. That's, in summary, a short understanding of external CSS. They have a couple of syntax rules that I just thought I'd make clear. They have this selector on the outside, and then you'll see the curly brackets, property, colon, value, and then if you wanted to do multiple things, so like on the header, if you wanted to talk about color and font size, it's the property, colon, the value, property, colon, value, and you can separate it by as many semicolons as you want. So if we go back with that idea of selector, curly bracket, property, colon, value, semicolon, you can see that in action over here. Property, the body, semicolon, because I'm wanting to do many things. Property, colon, Helvetica, semicolon. Oops, sorry. Line height, colon, the size, semicolon, and so on and so forth. Obviously, we lay it out in this little paragraph here because it's a little bit cleaner and easier to see. Now, what kind of things? Like I've seen P, I've seen H1. They're called elements, and they're really easy to declare in CSS. There is this other concept called classes, which I will get back into once I'm there. If you didn't want to maybe select a whole element, or you didn't want to select a whole class, you can do a specific ID, and then so main header, and then you put that same ID in the HTML, and if it's like paragraph 3 that you wanted to have blue, it'll only change paragraph 3 as opposed to all the different paragraphs. If this is not making sense, the main takeaway that you need to get is that you can either select an element, you can select a whole class like a whole container, or you can be really specific and label things with an ID so only those specific things change. And I mean, you can keep on reading about parent and child. There's lots of different stuff that's going on here. It is possible to put the CSS style internally in a HTML document. It will mean that the CSS only affects elements in that one page. Yeah, if you only had a one-page website like we do, yeah, just this one site, you could still put the CSS in there, but it kind of defeats the purpose of when you go back to its core business, which is about consistency and scalability. External CSS just really is fit for purpose, and it's an external document. It allows you to do it with multiple pages. It really just makes the most amount of sense. Now, these slides are only going to come into play the CSS box model, the text properties, the background properties, more background properties, positioning. This is really my favorite part of web dev. All of this stuff is going to come into play, and you can use in reference to these slides a little bit later when you start playing around with some of the activities. Now, I am going to provide for you on Classroom this basic site and this basic style that you can kind of use as a bit of a fundamentals. Because what I want to do for you, what I'm going to ask you to do today is start doing some of these activities yourself. And I'll say things along the line of create a CSS file and a HTML file to achieve the below task. Now, if you wanted to start out with this example here, that's cool. I do want you to, however, also get a practice of writing what you need to write the doc type tags, the HTML language, English, what you need in the header, including the style sheet. I do want you to get a bit used to typing those tags in. This will be one of the things that you'll have to edit and modify in your first assessment. So I do also want you, yes, you can use this for the first example, but I do want you to get used to the syntax of writing the CSS. So writing P, writing body, writing H1, writing H2. So move your way through these activities. Today, some of them are really hard. There's CSS grids, there's flexbox layouts. Just try your best to give it a go. Activity 1, 2, 3, and 4 are really quite, 5 are somewhat easier. They get a bit challenging as you get down to margins and paddings. These four are the advanced activities and they're quite hard. Thanks, Year 11.